Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the YSEALI Boot Camp 2021.
One of our signature programs, the ones that we get most excited about, and people in Washington are most grateful, in fact, that we do and that we fund and we organize. And it's just an exciting moment to be doing these camp series, and all the follow-up projects that Jay mentioned have exemplified creativity, energy, and the impact that YSEALI is known for.
During the time when we were sent to number one, when we had our exposure trip, it was an eye-opening for me. But actually, when we came back from the exposure trip back to the camp, and we had this discussion and analysis, that I begin to see and understand about issues. Whatever is happening in our community, the problems that we are facing, you need to look at it and analyze.
You're going into this with an expert mindset, which means you're going into your project, observing all of the angles and trying to calculate how to minimize cost, how to maximize effort for such a small team.
Civic engagement is not just political activism, it's really any form of activism that comes from creating a change, albeit small, could be massive, voice of the voiceless, to bring that voice forward and to move forward as a unit, as a community together.
So I'm remembering back to 2009 when a coal-fired power plant that was going to be built in Sabah. And I think a lot of us were afraid to say anything. If this happens, then we should all close shop. That was a moment we decided to join hands. NGOs had never really worked together before that, and we decided to form a coalition. I think that was the first big step we took.
Our narratives as Borneans are not represented nationally. We are not known, and therefore we kind of fade into the background. That's why I feel like through the arts, it's something that's soft, it's something that's visual, it's also something that's auditory. So it excites the senses for people to kind of look, and then in order to gently talk about issues without going straight into your face.
Basically, Bono Speaks, we try to operate on the principles of inclusivity and equitability. What's inspiring also and encouraging was there was a lot of responses from people who could relate to the stories that we share. So it's funny how these stories are underrepresented in media, and yet there are a lot of people who can relate, meaning that there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence because they do not have their platforms to share their stories. On Bono Speaks, there's a story about interracial upbringing. So that's a personal story. Someone sharing her personal experience about being the daughter of what most of us would deem as foreigners. I guess what I'm trying to get to is we try to tell the stories as humanely as possible, making the topic focus on the humans, the individuals that are affected by the issue.
So basically, every time we have office hour, weekly office hour, we change our there is some changes in our plan. So because we learn a lot from speakers and also from our assignment.
I think throughout the 3 weeks, there's a lot of things that I've learned, even though I'm working with various projects before. It's something that's very inspiring, and there's a lot of actually tips and tricks which are very beneficial, for example, like fundraising, which is has been put into context because when I see the fundraising concept and putting into context is a very interesting thing to see and also to apply, which I think I would actually of course apply later.
American YSEALI has given a lot of training and knowledge more in depth on how to actually make a campaign that can sustain itself. So thank you guys for going through all the trouble to research and compile and curate everything so it's easier for us to read and understand. And although it's a lot of information, but you guys have broken it down very well, so even a beginner like me can understand. So